Hey, so today's book review is a book by Sam Walton. It's called Made in America. So it's a very good book. I think it was written by Sam himself, and Sam Walton, as you would know, is was the chairman and CEO of the Walton Group. The Walmart Group, and Walmart essentially is a discount supermarket, super trader, superstore kind of a concept. Everybody knows about Walmart. I don't have to explain that to you. So essentially the book is about his life history and how he has achieved what he has achieved. And I think we should all read such kind of books, because most of the most striking thing which I see when I read books like this is the fact that all these guys who have done really well in their life, if you look at Walmart or Steve Jobs or even Bill Gates or Mark Zuckerberg or anybody, they've all had really humble beginnings. They haven't had beginnings where they were like fed with a silver spoon. And I think that's really key to having the hunger and the drive needed to sort of achieve what they have to achieve. So this guy from a fairly middle class family of Arkansas starts a discount store, and over a period of 40 years he builds that into the largest chain of discount stores in the world. And he talks about that story. He talks about how he did that and what sort of challenges he faced, and what were the things that really worked for him, and what were the things that they did better than others. So in a gist, he was really talking about the fact that they were very strong on ensuring that their bottom line was preserved. They were very strong on having the highest margins across any discounting stores, and that was really, I think, the key driving factor for ensuring that this particular format was a success. And that was one thing. And then they always were sort of growing at one store at a time, kind of a thing. So they were like not focusing on a big future, but immediate future. And we might all think that certainly Walmart, with about 1,500 stores plus, how did that become 1,500 stores? Did it become in a day? No. So it's the same story. Rome was not built in a day. So it was one or two efforts. They were initially doing 1 or 2 stores per month, and then they even went to the extent of opening close to about 100 stores a month. So once they got the model perfected of opening stores across, so that was done. And that's really good about the entire format, that the stores open one at a time and things happen really well for these guys. The other bit is, of course, the fact that they were very focused on the bottom line. They were very focused on growing the business. So there is this whole question about building sales versus keeping a cost under control. So most of the organizations which are there today are focused just on the revenue, the numbers. So if you look at any new startup, they are not focused about burning cash, as they may call. They just are worried about growing, building, and acquiring customers. So it's kind of today, losing money is not a big deal. Losing money seems to be like the mantra, but Sam Walton had proved that even from day one, the reason they survived for such a long time, 40 years, was the fact that they were focused on their bottom line. They were focused on profitability. They were trying to ensure that the stores become profitable ASAP, and they in fact did that too. They became profitable before anybody else did, and they never took their eyes off the ball. So this guy is a really hands-on guy. He has this famous Saturday meetings where he goes and meets his associates on every Saturday morning at 8 o'clock, which was quite surprising for me, because I always thought that Americans never worked on Saturdays. For that matter, any Europeans never worked on Saturdays. And that was kind of a revelation, because this guy worked really hard on a Saturday morning too. And in fact, not just Saturday, I think every other day was a big day for him. So, for example, he also speaks about the fact that he used to go and meet the truckers or the guys who used to manage logistics at 3 in the morning. And they used to have chat about how to build efficiency in the organization. So that's like really great thing. Somebody who's so much committed. I think that's really important, and that teaches anybody who's wanting to become an entrepreneur that it all starts with hard work. It all starts with commitment. So, and I'm being an entrepreneur, I've realized this too, that if you don't have the drive, if you don't have the dream, and the dream should be that it should be your dream. It cannot be somebody else's dream. It cannot be that you're doing it for somebody else. And you might see that the world is not interested and they don't care what you do. And they might ask you questions like, what are you doing, and all of that. So they will always ask you courtesy questions, which is what the world does, and it's good for it. Never take that for the fact that they are interested in your lives. It's as much as you're interested in anybody else's life, which is that we fundamentally are not interested in others' life. We are interested in our own lives to begin with. And once we've done our bit, then we sort of start looking at others' life when we have the time and the time, really. It's a question of time, because everybody is running behind time. So given those challenges, it's really tough for people to sort of focus on others. But even then, I'm not saying even if we had time, fundamentally human beings are focused on themselves. They're focused on owing it to themselves. So if you're creating a future, remember that nobody owes it to you, and on the same count, you don't owe it to anybody. So don't be bothered about 1,000 things happening around the world. If the wall's falling down and it's cracking up and you feel ownership of everything that's happening around, that's dissipation of your energy. So primarily you have to ensure that you don't get your energy dissipated in stuff like worrying about things that are beyond your scope of control. So let me give you an example. Let's say there is an issue of let's say floods in your region, and you got to do something about it, and you feel really positive about contributing there, and I'm sure you must be trying to do things about it. And my view is that there are agencies to take care of it. Let them do their jobs, and you do your bit in terms of contributing, if any, from a financial point of view. But I think physically going there and putting your life in danger and trying to prove through that you're a hero is not necessarily the right thing to do. And a lot of us always want to become heroes, and we do things because it appeals to us, because we want to say that, oh, we've done this, oh, we've done that. And while it's good, it's important, the more important thing is your goal in life, what you want to achieve in life, and that should take precedence. So I'm just giving you probably a crude example, but nevertheless what I was trying to say is that it is important that you focus on your life, you focus on what you have to do, and not get bogged down by anything else. So just cut distractions out. Don't get argumentative, don't get involved in things which doesn't concern you. Even if things concern you, try to cut it off, unless it sort of aligns with your goal. And if it aligns with your goal, take your time, spend your time on it. And don't feel bad about people not giving you time, because they don't owe it to you. Okay, so if you get 2 minutes from anybody, make the most of that 2 minutes. At the same time, don't allow anybody to take more than 2 minutes of your life. I personally don't even answer phone calls, and if somebody picks the phone, if I pick the phone by mistake and I speak to them, I don't spend more than 30 seconds. I just try to figure out what are they trying to contact me for, and the moment I'm able to figure that out, I just cut it off. And I don't give any explanations, I don't give sorries or thank yous, or I don't try to justify myself. I just cut the call off, that's it, and probably block the number, because I don't have the time, not patience, time to engage with anybody on any matter. And that's the same thing with everybody else. There's no question of being nice and giving time away. You know, I can be nice and give money, but not time, because time is precious to me, and I think it should be the case with everybody else. So Sam Walton really was a guy who sort of impacted US very positively, and he talks about doing a lot of things. I mean, one of the things that strikes me in the book was the fact that he used to fly in his probably broken down plane or beaten up plane across states and to visit his stores, and that was one of the high points of his life. He's mentioned that a couple of times. So that's great. Now, he wasn't a visionary or a guy who sort of had any political ambitions, or he wasn't there to change the society. He was just really there to sort of make his ends meet and just, you know, go by and live life happily. So, and that's what he did. And he makes no bones about the fact. I mean, he doesn't make any bones about the fact that he was trying to do something greater than what he actually came about to do in this world. So he just says, I was a good businessman. You know, I used to just do my job and then go back. So those are things which sort of tells you that he was very down to earth kind of a guy. So I mean, he wasn't like some Gandhi or Nelson Mandela or Roosevelt, right? Franklin D. Roosevelt or any of those people. So he was just a businessman, and even in businessmen, there are businessmen like Bill Gates who try to do a lot of things for the society, who actively spend time with their career to do society, which is good. And that's one of the ways to look at it. But because Bill Gates sort of built his empire pretty quickly, and Sam Walton had taken a lot of time, probably 20 years more than Bill Gates, to build his empire. So that's the reason perhaps he was not able to contribute back to the society as much as Bill Gates is doing. No, I don't want to get into that debate, but I'm just saying that he was just a normal guy. I mean, he wasn't like the Messiah, or he wasn't trying to politically change anybody's will. He was just a guy who used to go to church, who used to do his stuff. He was married, he had kids, you know, he built his empire. But what it tells you essentially is that he had the entrepreneurial spirit, and that sort of took him from being just a normal guy to being probably the richest man on the planet when he was alive. And that's the gist of the book, really. It's a simple read. It's kind of crude because it's written by he himself. You know, it's not the high quality biographies that you would read, and that sort of tells you about the hands-on behavior of this gentleman, and that really sort of is good. So it's not a book which needs sort of a lot of thinking. You can just read it as a, you know, weekend book, or just casual reading, whatever you want, because the point is that he was a good guy. So I like the book. I think it's a good book for anybody who wants to get motivated and realize. So the biggest takeaway is always the fact that stay motivated, stay true to yourself. Even when Sam Walton was dying out of cancer, he had bone cancer, and he died when he was 74 years old. Even before he was dying, he was sort of full of energy. He was still raving to go. So I think that sort of stuck with me, the message that be full of energy, be alive, be sort of kicking till the time you die. And that's really important, to sort of be happy. So with that, I will stop this video, and more book reviews as we go along. Thank you.